MSNBC is the place for politics, and Barack Obama is battling new claims that he's snubbing Muslim voters. The perspective from the Muslim community. Barack Obama facing increased scrutiny from Muslim Americans today and renewed criticism that he is snubbing that community. An overwhelming majority of Muslim Americans backed Obama during the primaries, but now some say they're rethinking their support. Edina Lekovic is the communications director for the Muslim Public Affairs Council. Edina, Senator Obama has now apologized to those two Muslim women who were barred from sitting behind him at a rally last week because they were wearing traditional Muslim headscarves. What kind of tension did that create, though, in the community?
Well, I think it certainly raised some eyebrows because the Muslim American community has been well aware of the political climate in which we exist and the perceptions around the Obama campaign. However, that move, you know, the apology was accepted because the move was made by campaign volunteers. And, you know, you don't necessarily hold volunteers accountable to the same standards, and mistakes are made. And I think that the statement made by Senator Obama was important. But the bigger issue here is the exclusion that Muslim Americans feel during this critical election year, and they are seeking a path towards political participation. We're seeing record high levels of political participation among Muslim Americans. And at this critical time, you know, sensitivities are a little higher.
And what about the news we heard now this week from Congressman Ellison, Muslim congressman, who talked about the fact that he wanted to take part during the primaries and wanted to get out and campaign for Obama and was essentially asked not to?
Well, I mean, again, it's symbolic of a greater trend that's taking place. And the reality is that, you know, on our election cycle in this country, all Americans are supposed to be taken into account. And so we would expect that presidential candidates would be making stops not only at churches and synagogues, but also at mosques and temples and other places where people gather so that they can send their message out to.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I was going to ask that if Obama doesn't make a stop, he hasn't campaigned at a mosque, he hasn't done anything symbolically like that. He's been at churches and synagogues. If he chooses not to do that, ultimately, will Muslim Americans feel snubbed? Will they possibly say, we backed this guy initially, but we're not going there anymore because now we're just offended?
I think people are going to turn out to the polls no matter what, but I think the message here is that neither one of these campaigns should take the Muslim American vote for granted. They have to come out, they have to talk to the people, because Muslim Americans, just like other Americans, want change. We want to see this country move in a direction that supports civil liberties, that supports the Bill of Rights, that supports all of the American values that we all share. And, you know, one incident is just a bump in that path, but we have to keep our eyes on the long-term goal, which
so you don't think he has to worry
the future
about
of our country. So
you don't think he has to worry about losing votes over this to John McCain?
I think he should certainly have to worry. Like I said, no one should take this voting block for granted. You have to come out and work for it, and this is an opportunity. You know, you look at moments of crisis as opportunity. Senator Obama can make some important moves right now to go out and meet with members of this community on the national level and on the local level, and to try to re-promote his message of inclusion by putting his by doing it out on the campaign trail and not just through statements, because that's ultimately what will matter when people go to the ballot box.
Edina Lekovic, thank you so much.